Okay. And you knew Pac through Gaddafi?
Through Gaddafi, yes, yes. Yes.
Okay. And from what I understand, because there's a bunch of outlaws, there's a bunch of guys from Thug Life and so forth, but Pac and Gaddafi were the closest in terms of relationship.
Yes, yes, for sure. Agree. But it was also Edie, also Castro. When I came around, Pac clique was, of course, he had the Thug Life, Mopreme, Rated R, Big Psych, Macadocious. He had the Thug Life clique, but the Outlawz, before it was the Outlawz, they was Young Thugs. You know what I mean? So when I came around, it was Young Thugs, and it was only Gaddafi. He was known as Hollywood. Castro was known as K-Dog, and Edie was known as Big Mouth. It was them three. You know what I mean? And that was their crew. So when I came around, it was before the Outlawz. They still was Young Thugs. And then Pac called, when he put me in a group, he decided to name us Dramacidal. And then eventually we went to Outlaw Immortals, or Outlawz for short.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, in 2020, where you have one of the big hip hop artists named Young Thug.
Yeah.
who's compared himself to Tupac before.
Oh yeah, I ain't even know that, man.
Oh yeah, no, he compared himself to Tupac, and then this other rapper from Atlanta named YFN Lucci, who was, I guess, beefing with him at the time. He said Tupac didn't wear a dress. Called himself NewPac, and you said Tupac didn't wear a dress.
Shit, I don't know who I was talking to.
You don't know nothing about that. Okay.
Tupac didn't wear a dress though. Big up.
Tupac didn't wear a dress. Trust me, I've done more Tupac related interviews than anybody. Tupac did not wear a dress.
Facts. True, bro.
Right. Yeah. So you guys were called the Young Thugs.
Yeah. So we was the Young Thugs, man, and we did a few songs as the Young Thugs, and then eventually Pac decided to call us Dramacidal. It's like a Bay Area slang that they used to put back then on words. They would always add the word "sidal" on it. Like, he's Dramacidal, he's Crazy-cidal. It's just a Bay Area slang. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess the first time you met Pac and you told him the story about how your parents got killed, Pac was actually crying.
Yeah, he was crying. And it shocked me, you know what I mean? Because at that part of Pac's life, at that particular time, he was very controversial. He was always in and out of the media, the newspaper, always on television. He was a controversial individual, you know what I mean? So always getting arrested. So, when I went to the hotel room, and I mentioned this in my book in details, but when I went into the hotel, I went there with the mindset that I have to prove to Pac how much of a street dude, because I was really on the streets, Vlad. Like, I was on the streets every single day around hustlers, around killers. I grew up in that environment. So I said to myself, man, I'm going to impress Pac with, where I come from. And Pac shut that down though. You know what I mean? He wasn't really, he shut that down. He didn't want to hear that type of talk. He was like, man, that's going to waste my time. You know what I mean? So he was like, but I want to know what happened to your mother and father, because Yasmin, which is the mother of Gaddafi, who introduced me to him, she must have told him the story briefly. You know what I mean? So after I was telling him the story, man, during me telling him the story, I look up and I seen tears coming down his eyes. And I was shocked because, the television, they, put this image out of Pac like this macho man and always in trouble. And I was able to see another side of him from that day. You know what I mean? And that's the side that I knew him until he passed away. He had that sensitive side with him, that he cared for the people deeply,